Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for staying with us, and NTA is seizing this opportunity to wish all Nigerian children a happy Children's Day. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. You're welcome. And now the news in full. Despite the virtual celebration organized by the Ministry of Women Affairs, this year's Children's Day in Abuja is devoid of the usual glamour and display of colorful parades, as most children were compelled to mark separately in their own way. Momso Demiendati captured the scenario.
It's a new dawn. The day is bright and beautiful, and just once in every year, specially dedicated to celebrate children the world over. But this year it is low-key due to the COVID-19. It wouldn't have made any difference for 12-year-old Daniel Adegbeiga. But he still would have marked the day with a bucket of sachet water, enduring the hot sun or rain, whichever comes, in search of buyers.
Now I can almost see my friends. March past, everything is closed down, so sell and go. The first lockdown, I was at home, I was not doing anything. So we suffer before we eat. My mom will come to market, she will not sell. Sometimes we will eat once in a day. Before my friend now introduced me to selling of pure water.
He is not alone in this. There are many other children hawking to support their parents on their special day.
We did not march because of the coronavirus and there's no school.
But then, there are some privileged ones who would have been at the parades and other places to mark the Children's Day.
I wish our government to pay the children's father so that they will have money to celebrate it at home.
I want children to cough inside their hand and sanitize their hand and keep distance.
But this year, the only option is to play around within the confines of their home. For some of them, it is an opportunity to develop skills and talents. So they came up with this presentation to commemorate the Day for Children online.
We have further time to celebrate it after defeating COVID-19.
We need quality education, sane and safe environments,
but under your guidance and leadership, so that we can grow with positive mind.
I believe that one day we shall tell a story on the agony COVID-19 brought to the world.
We wish you happy Children's Day.
But on this same day is a neighborhood market with a petty vegetable seller. As a child, she was full of big dreams to become an economist. But that never saw the light of day. Her dreams were shattered when she dropped out of school at primary level.
I don't find money to train my children. My children, I don't see money train them. I want to make them go to school. No.
To avert future occurrence of Nkechi's story in today's Girl, the theme, promoting girl-child education for sustainable development, is the focus for this year.
Everyone in the society must join hands to ensure that the girl child goes to school. Education is the right of every Nigerian child.
With this administration's determination to ensure that the girl child enjoys her full rights, the federal government directed that all girls must be enrolled and must attend schools.
While the Ministry of Women Affairs decided to mark the Children's Day by virtual interaction, one wonders if the likes of Daniel and his friends hawking at the market even knew about it. Momso Demiendati, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigerian children are advocating more funding in the education sector. Elizabeth Omori, who went round the FCT to see how the children are celebrating with the lockdown, reports that the children are eager to go back to the classrooms.
May 27 is traditionally the children's holiday in Nigeria, a day set aside by the United Nations to raise awareness on the needs and rights of children in the country. However, they will not be celebrating this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. With the partial lockdown in the FCT, major streets were devoid of the usual march past, costume and cultural attire parade, face painting, and visits to cinemas and parks to explore and have a feel of the bouncy castles. This park used to be very busy on a day like this, but today there are no activities, no thanks to coronavirus. As this year's Children's Day celebration takes a different twist, many children were indoors, while some were spotted with their parents on the streets shopping. So, how do they feel not celebrating their day?
I didn't see some money to celebrate it by myself.
Oh, really? Are you the one to spend the money?
Yes.
I feel very sad because every 27th of May we used to celebrate together.
They didn't say Happy Children's Day in the first day, in the first time in the morning.
The Nigerian child does have expectations, even as learning continues online at home.
I want to go back to school to go and see my friends. And I want to continue with my education.
As efforts intensify to curb COVID-19, the children are appealing to the government to formulate stiffer penalties to punish those who violate their rights and make frantic efforts to engage children out of school in the classrooms. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The innocence of children. In the meantime, President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan felicitates with Nigerian children on the occasion of the 2020 Children's Day. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the Senate President on Media and Publicity, Ola Awoniyi, Senator Lawan noted that the surest way to a happy and fulfilling future for Nigerian children is to provide them with quality education and health care and to protect them against all forms of abuse, while advocating more commitment from parents in the upbringing of their children. The Senate President enjoined states and federal government to collaborate to improve the living standards of Nigerian children. Similarly, Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says Nigerian children must be given the necessary care and attention, especially quality education, to enable them attain their goals in life. In a statement by his spokesman, Larry Lasisi, the Speaker says Nigerian children have a lot of potentials that must be harnessed. Hence, the need to put in place policies, including legislative framework, that will facilitate qualitative education for Nigerian children to reduce the number of out-of-school children. Now I'm being joined via Skype by the Director of Child Development with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Jumai Mohammed. And also joining me via Skype is Judith Giwa Amu, an Education Officer with UNICEF Abuja, and a member of the group we are celebrating today, Hamza Mohammed, a GSS2 student. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nationwide. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now let me start with the child. Hamza, how would you describe this year's Children's Day celebration? Hamza, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This year's Children's Day is not the same. This year's Children's Day is not the same as last year. Last year it was more interesting. We'll go out. We'll go out. Our school take us to excursion with my friends. But today, because of the lockdown, we have to stay at home.
Okay, now Hamza, how has the pandemic affected your day-to-day activities?
Because of this pandemic, normally I go out, but now we have to stay at home. I'm not used to staying at home because I go out very well, but we have to stay at home so this virus does not spread more and more.
All right. We hope the pandemic will go away soon and you can go back to school. Now, let me talk to the Director of Child Development with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Jumai Mohammed. Now, why is this year's theme focusing only on the girl child?
The girl child, the girl is the girl child is, the girls are very important members of the society. You know, we are the core of the society. The girl child is the child, core of the society. The woman is the core of the society, of the family. If you educate a child, a girl child, you educate the whole nation. Therefore, it is so important for us to focus on the girl child education, particularly because the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Paul Darling, her main focus since she became the minister is education of the girl child. So there is this particular time, particularly at this time because of the COVID-19, the girl child has doubly double jeopardy because she is, you know, out of school, is at home, experiencing several kind of these things. So that's the reason why we are focusing on the girl child, you know, education, girl child education as the focus of this year's celebration.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, Judith, if you can hear me also. You are responsible for education in emergencies, and this is one of such situations. So, what is UNICEF doing to alleviate the impact of the pandemic on children and their education? Judith.
Okay, UNICEF is in line with the education sector COVID-19 strategy. UNICEF is working to ensure that there is continuity of education, continuity of learning, to avoid the possibility of children actually losing interest in education. UNICEF is, through its partner states, is working and supported the establishment of radio education programs, is working with the school-based management committees, because we are aware that the greater bulk of the children are in the communities, in the rural areas. So the school-based management committees are also in the community members that are responsible for governance, growth, and responsibilities. So working with the community structures, we are able to ensure that not only as homework packets delivered to the children in their homes, because now we are talking of safety. We are talking of delivering education, remote learning in the safety of the children's homes. Because we are aware of the, the risks towards getting infection transmission, including all the social distancing, poor hygiene practices. So at the community levels, we have established what we call the SBMC platforms among all the SBMCs in the states of Nigeria. We are actively communicating with the school-based management committees. We are also established an education secretary platform through which we interact with the education secretary.
Okay, Judith, thank you for your insight. Now, let me go back to Jumai again, and still on the theme. Now, what happens to the boys, particularly the Almajire?
The issue of the Almajire is something that we are not very happy about, particularly at this time, during this COVID period. You know, they are children and their rights must be protected. Therefore, the ministry has been calling on all states who are used the their rights. You know, the rights of people must be respected. We are against their rights. And no, the right of children with their parents, children should be protected by their parents, you know, and there. But it is the right step by the wrong, you know. So the way they are, the children transported, the children that are being rejected by some states and so on. It's not really
Okay,
nice. They are children.
it seems like
And
we're
most
having a
importantly,
poor
they are
network
trying to
at
protect
Jumai's
them.
end. Now let's go back to Hamza. Hamza, tell us, what are your expectations from the society, and how do you think Nigerian children can contribute to the society? Hamza.
Nigerian children should try their best. When they go to school, they should listen in class, that they'll be able to get good jobs in the future, not to terrorize people, but that will make the world a better place and make Nigeria known among all other countries in the world.
Thank you very much. I believe those in authority are hearing all you have to say, and something will be done, definitely. Your dreams will be realized. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide. We've been talking to the Director, Child Development with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Jumai Mohammed, and also Judith Giwa Amu, an Education Officer with UNICEF, and also Hamza Mohammed, a GSS 2 student. You're still watching Nationwide. Let's join Adiola in Lagos. Over to you, Adiola.
Hello, Lydia. Welcome to Lagos. The annual observance of Children's Day in Nigeria every 27th of May is aimed at raising public awareness on issues surrounding welfare and rights of children. In the wake of COVID-19, how are children in Lagos celebrating their day? Let's join Dotun Oguyemi, who is standing by to relay the mood of the day in Lagos.
It is Children's Day in Nigeria, and while COVID-19 is the talk of the town, government and non-governmental organizations have been reminded on the rights of children, which make up 42% of the nation's population. For example, Amira and her friends say that while COVID-19 has been on, they have had to refer to online teaching.
It's not all of us that we are in online class for now. It's not all of us, but a little.
I don't like how they teach us online, because I miss how the teacher explains to us when we are in class physically.
Even though primary education is officially free and compulsory, according to UNICEF, about 10.5 million Nigerian children between 5 and 14 years are not in school.
I would say that we need to improve on those basic things for the children: education, healthcare, and feeding.
On a day like this, it would have been expected that children would take to parade grounds to show off their much past skills, as well as take to relaxation centers to unwind from all the stress of studying. But while that is not the case, children are at home ensuring that they stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Back to you, studio.
Thank you, Dotu. Now moving on to other stories. The partial lockdown protocol instituted by the federal government to check the spread of COVID-19 is also helping to nib crime in the board. The Lagos State Police Command, while giving accounts of its operations during the Eid al-Fitr celebration, said since the enforcement of curfew began, there has been drastic reduction in crime rate. Michael Olaleye reports.
For my own community, understand, every house on the street had to nominate or donate one person to come out to watch during that period. She said it was tense.
Levi Opia, a banker by profession, narrating what he termed an ugly security situation in Lagos about 6 weeks ago. The trend is changing, and the secret is not far-fetched.
I think since people are now going outside, going up and down to source for their, food, and things are getting better compared to before.
It is a momentum security operatives have pledged to sustain, as the police is not willing to relapse in its surveillance measures in spite of the coronavirus pandemic.
You look up, you see a helicopter still patrolling, giving us area surveillance. You go to the waterways, you see our gunboat still patrolling. Our marine police are there patrolling 24 hours. You look at our roads again, you see our rapid response squads positioned in strategic locations in such a way that they can respond to any distress within the shortest possible time.
The police says it is continually adjusting its mode of operations to reflect the new direction in policing. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
For now, that's it from this end. Nationwide will continue after this break. Stay with us.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
As women, we guard our homes. Coronavirus COVID-19 is real.
Wash your hands with soap and water regularly.
Use the hand sanitizer always.
Maintain social distancing and avoid crowded places.
Disinfect contact surfaces at intervals.
Wear face masks if you must go out.
Share faith, not fear.
Symptoms of COVID-19 are headache, fever, sore throat and dry cough, difficulty in breathing.
If you have this, please seek medical help immediately.
COVID-19 is real. Stay safe. This message is from the Women Wing of Christian Association of Nigeria. War with us!
This is a very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. It not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash, make like 2 and dash your neighbor 1. And if they come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water to avoid coronavirus. Make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Now, Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Thanks for staying. At 11:30 p.m. on 26th of May 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, announced 276 new cases of COVID-19 in the country, increasing the number of confirmed cases to 8,344. The 276 new confirmed cases are spread across 15 states, with 161 in Lagos, 36 in Rivers, 27 in Edo, 19 in Kaduna, 10 in Nasarawa, 6 in Oyo, and 4 in Kano State. There are 3 new cases each in Delta and Ebonyi states, with 2 each in Gombe. with 2 in Gombe, while Ogun, Ondo, Borno, Abia, and Bauchi states have 1 case each. In total, Lagos still tops the chart table of COVID-19 cases with 3,756, followed by Kano with 923 and the FCT with 519 cases. The NCDC reports 2,385 discharged patients with 249 deaths recorded so far. In continuation of its daily monitoring and enforcement of the interstate travel ban, FCT Ministerial Task Team on COVID-19 have intercepted and arrested 29 Lagos-bound commercial motorcyclists traveling in a truck. Abdullahi Ajia has more.
The FCT Ministerial Task Team in its outing on Tuesday intercepted a truck with registration number LFA 837ZX from Taraba heading to Lagos through the FCT. After due interrogation from the chairman of the task team, driver of the truck, who was conveying some precious stones, and commercial motorcyclist, whom he picked from Lafia to Lagos, and their bikes were arrested for violating the COVID-19 partial lockdown order in the FCT.
How did you manage from Taraba or Lafia to reach where our men arrested you here?
Sincerely, I consider one from God.
Now from God, how God did you?
So, as they don't stop me now, that's why I pass.
Chairman of the FCT Ministerial Task Team, Iharu Atta, expressed concerns over the continued violation of the restriction order, adding that the truck and all its non-human contents will be impounded until the COVID-19 restrictions were lifted.
Very, very despicable. We have seen persons being carried in between fertilizers, being carried in between bags of beans, in between bags of pepper, in between bags of onions, in between bags of tomatoes, in very, very dehumaning conditions. And we found that really very worrisome. As we go to enforce this, and as we enforce this, what we feel in our heart is pain.
Thereafter, the men were arraigned before Magistrate Idayat Akoni, who found them guilty with 3,000 naira fine on the truck driver and the occupants of the truck be sent back to their point of departure. The tax team, however, warned other would-be violators to keep off, as the FCT will use the law to punish offenders. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Time to join Lanre in Ibadan for trending stories in that part of the country. Lanre, it's over to you.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Ibadan. Unlike in the past, the celebration of this year's Children's Day in Oyo State took another dimension as information technology became a vital tool for communication for the celebration. Correspondent Omokende Igbari tells us more.
This is in Ibadan, where it's usually known annually for children to converge on a day like this for Children's Day March Past activity, which the state government will also be at hand to making sure they give trophies to best matching schools, but no thanks to COVID-19. Children representatives commemorated the day in a unique way, joined their counterparts on Zoom and prayed for an end to COVID-19 and reopening of schools.
Need of girl child can be said to be support from parents, from government and other societal groups which can help to make a girl's future better.
Despite the fact we have little, we are doing more because the leaders in this country are mostly from public schools.
I've engaged myself learning online and the television school on air stuff, and I'm gaining a lot from it.
With the theme, promoting the girl child education for sustainable development. Educating the girl child is pivotal to national development.
There is a need for more girls to be involved in education, child welfare, and poverty reduction in Nigeria.
Oyo State government, however, appealed to all children to make use of the stay at home by taking to their online studies. In Ibadan, Omokende Igbari, NTA News.
One of the major challenges that could prevent the much production of maize is armyworm. These pests, which are devoid various means of control, seems to be having field day again. Correspondent Kayode Oladushi takes a look at farmers' efforts in fighting this odd.
One of the hindrances to the optimum productivity in agricultural practices is the impact of pests, which may not only reduce the volume of output, but also the quality of the farm produce. With the commencement of the planting season, effort at curtailing the spread of the pest on farms remain the major focus of farmers. Topmost among such threat is armyworm.
We're having a very big challenges in our maize. So armyworm destroys some of our farms.
The chemicals are, most of them are on the market, but very, very expensive. It's not within the reach of the farmers.
Chemical control is one of the available options to farmers, but the concern is the availability of the chemical.
Government is going to give them, is planning on assisting them with inputs, like seed, chemicals, agri machinery, and we believe that if this is done, farmers will be able to have free farming season.
Effective control of armyworm, especially on maize farm, is a step towards food sufficiency, which must be pursued holistically. To this end, capacity building for farmers on how to manage this parasite is of great importance. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladushi, NTA News.
And that's the size of our contribution for now. Lydia, it's back to you.
Thank you, Larry. 4 Sangaya schools in Karaye, local government area of Kano State, have benefited from the benevolence of the First Lady, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, through her Future Assured initiative with the donation of palliatives. The gesture is geared towards cushioning the effect of the lockdown and to discourage street begging among Almajiri. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The Future Assured initiative of the wife of the President, Aisha Buhari, has on several occasions identified with the needy and the vulnerable groups in Kano, particularly at this trying moment of the lockdown. This time around, the Future Assured team was in Karaya local government area, where 4 Sangaya schools benefited from her gesture with donation of food items as part of effort to control begging among the Almajiris. Items distributed include noodles, bags of rice, and cartons of toilet soaps, among others.
Primary concern of Haji Aisha Buhari, the First Lady, to uplift the life of less privileged in the society.
Expressing a sincere gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and Her Excellency for this donation. It will assist greatly and curtail it, not even challenging the begging system. It will curtail it.
Meanwhile, the Future Assured initiative has earlier donated beddings to Murtala Muhammad Specialist and infectious disease hospitals in Kano as part of measures to support health institutions being critical players in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Let's now join Charles in Makudi for more Nationwide. Hello, Charles. Good to see you.
Thank you, Lydia, and a warm welcome to Makudi. Commercial motorcyclists and market women in Makudi, the Benue State capital, have benefited from the benevolence of a philanthropist who distributed face masks, numbering about 3,500 to them. The philanthropist, Chief Isaac Akinkume, says he chose those categories of people due to the essential services they render to the public to curb the spread of COVID-19. Sandra Dorwese Akemi reports.
We're sorry for that challenge at Makudi. We'll now take a break and see if we can go back.
Of COVID-19 is avoided.
The gesture extended to us today is highly appreciated. It's a role model in which all other CEOs in Nigeria or in Makodi particularly should try to emulate.
I will tell them that they must surely put it even in the market, while even
Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back. Time to join Agatha in our Benin Network Center for their contributions on Nationwide. Agatha, you're next.
Thank you, Lydia. Good to have you join us in Benin. In spite of the increase in the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Edo State, many citizens are still doubting the existence of the virus. Ifoma Okafo reports.
According to Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC update, Edo State has 27 new cases of COVID-19. This brings the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the state to 218. Instead of attracting high sense of caution, some people are still living in disbelief.
We never even know person, we know, say, yes, this is the person. We are not hearing the increment of coronavirus.
I cannot really tell whether it's true or not.
For a frontline worker, this is not healthy.
People are not complying with these precautionary measures. You see people gather in their clusters, go to the banking environment, go to the market square. There's nothing like social distancing. They don't even wash their hands, even though in some of these areas, water is not available. Then the simplest one is the face mask. Most people hang it like this. And I tell people, I speak local dialect to tell them, it's not Imogome I have. We're not asking you to show to us that you have. Wear it.
Meanwhile, it was observed that people are gradually turning up voluntarily at the screening centers.
Before now, you beg and beg and beg, but they have seen that coming out will make things come back to normal sooner than they expect.
So far, 58 patients have been discharged as 9 deaths recorded. In Benin, Ifoma Okafo, NTA News.
Now, Ondo State has so far recorded 22 cases of coronavirus. 80% of these cases were discovered in Akure, the state capital. The question is, how much information do people in rural areas of the state have about the dreaded virus? Olubukola Aduwo visited Imafon community and filed in this report.
This is Imafon community in Akure North local government area of Ondo State, which is about 6 kilometers from Akure, the state capital. Dwellers of this community are mainly farmers who major in cocoa cultivation. 49-year-old Isaac Olorunyomi, a trader, says he is aware of the virus but wants government to do more of sensitization, especially for rural dwellers.
Buying these mouth covers, watching our hand. If you look down here, every time we wash our hands.
What is coronavirus?
Coronavirus is a disease that comes from China.
We want government to come and fumigate this environment. The traditional head of the village, Samuel Adegbengbe, said several efforts to ensuring that the spread of COVID-19 is curtailed in the village and state in general have been embarked upon through regular enlightenment of the people.
Our chiefs and other head of quarters, I invited them to my palace. Then we educate our people.
Community transmission of COVID-19 in the state can be halted if residents like Isaac Olorunyomi adhere strictly to the precautionary measures put in place by government. From Imafo community, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
And that ends our package. Lydia, you're on.
Thank you, Agatha. Ekiti State Government has signed a Memorandum of Understanding for improved internet access for socio-economic development of the state. Governor Kayode Fayemi said in Ado Ekiti that the project will increase the state internet access from its present 16% to 90% internet penetration. Yemi Dalemo reports that the state also acquired 2 molecular laboratories to increase COVID-19 testing.
The broadband penetration project is in compliance with the National Economic Council's approved reduction in the right-of-way charges for broadband, thus with the state crashing the charges of laying broadband and telecommunications infrastructure from 4,500 naira to 145 naira per kilometer Ekiti State is the first in the southwest to achieve this. The governor noted that the aim of the project is to ensure that the state achieve full broadband penetration by 2021 to attract new businesses, create jobs, improve access to quality healthcare and digital education, while also increasing the state's internally generated revenue.
Our pupils in schools can very easily do their assignments online, submit it online, get it graded online, get their results online without leaving the confines of their homes.
In another development, Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Mojisola Yakolade, said the 2 mobile molecular laboratories acquired by the state and set up at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital are to enhance screening of the populace for COVID-19 and for the people to know the prevalence of COVID-19 in the community. In Ado-Ekiti, Yemi Dalimo, NT News.
The creative industry is one of the critical sectors of the economy affected by coronavirus pandemic. As new approaches are being adopted by government and other business organizations across the world, guests on NTA's Tuesday Live stressed the need for better collaboration amongst practitioners and regulatory agencies for the improvement of the sector. Doindia reports.
The Nigeria's creative industry has been described as one of the critical sectors of the nation's economy with a huge potential for income and employment generation, having many of such contents being patronized within and outside the shores of the country. The outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, however, like other sectors of the economy, is having a ripple effect on the creative industry, a development which has become a source of concern to practitioners and other key players.
If these contents get finished, that gap that will be created, the gap that will be created might make them lose their audience. So this is a thing of worry for us.
The guest advised those in the industry to take advantage of the information communication technology to promote local content. In addition, they appeal to government to expand its support for the industry, just as they stressed the need for proper regulation.
For the first time in the history of this country, it is this period of President Muhammadu Buhari that the creative industry had never had a problem with National Film and Video Censors Board.
The copyright levy, which is the Minister of Finance, from all the copyright materials that get into the country from customs, that's one. The 50 billion that was given to small-scale industries recently, the film industry was not mentioned. They mentioned agriculture and pharmaceutical and all that. I think we can also benefit from that too.
How much we are working as a regulatory agency or government, and that gives confidence for those inflows to come, and which will be available for our teaming practitioners.
They agree that with the intention of the federal government to look inward for other sources of income generation, the creative industry, if well harnessed, can help to generate billions of naira for the Nigerian government and as well engage the youth positively. In Abuja, Doindia, NT News.
In checking the excesses of some media organizations in the country, the National Broadcasting Commission has sanctioned 28 broadcast stations in the first quarter of the year. It also commended some for exercising due diligence in carrying out national service since the emergence of coronavirus pandemic. Hamad Jabani reports.
With the presentation of the amendment of the 6th edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code to stakeholders on the 26th March 2020, the code is now ready and the National Broadcasting Commission has published the provision of the amendment of the code to the public.
The amendments to the code make new provisions on increased local content involvement in the broadcast industry. It also makes provisions for increased advertising revenue opportunities for local broadcast stations, indigenous broadcast stations, and also for content producers. The amendments also make further restrictions for monopolistic and anti-competitive behavior in the broadcast industry.
Acting Director General of the NBC, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, informed that under the first quarter of the year, 28 broadcasting stations were sanctioned for violating relevant codes dealing with obscenity, political breach, hate speech, unprofessionalism, unverified claims, advertisement, technical and reportage on COVID-19, and all stations have been queried or sanctioned according to the provision of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code.
And has come up with certain provisions, charges that broadcasters will pay to the signal distributors, and charges that are also supposed to be paid to the regulator. In all, the idea of the Commission is to ensure that we lower the entry barriers, we make the fees more acceptable.
The Commission commended media organizations for their sacrifice under the coronavirus pandemic and urged them to adhere strictly to the provision of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code and the National Broadcasting Code Cap N11 law of the Federation 2004. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Sports is next. Nigerian athletes and the family of deceased sports stars now have a reason to smile as the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, is rolling out a welfare package for them. Sports correspondent Bade Adele tells us more about the program and the impact it's making.